every age you should try to be involved and interested and working. Because for me, I think I'm in pretty good shape for my age. I'm 91, if you want to know.
No.
Yeah. I work every day of my life because I love it. And I think that's the secret to longevity, for me anyway.
Not only is it beautiful, I think it's really important for all of us, for every single person at every age to know that.
But I feel vital, and I feel like still creating and learning and doing. You know, I wake up in the morning, what am I going to be doing? And I know what I'm going to be doing. I just look at the list, you know. But I'd been married many times and liked all the husbands, but wasn't one for staying. But at 87, I met the best man that I've ever been with, and we are together now. He's 6 years younger than I am. But we have a great relationship and just very much in love. So if you have love and work, why you hope your days go on as long as possible.
GEORGANNE Aldrich Heller, you're born in the Upper West Side in Manhattan.
Right.
And you've lived and worked pretty much your whole life here, isn't it?
Well, no, here and Los Angeles, between the two.
Okay.
Because one of my husbands that I was with for many years was vice president of Warner Brothers.
Oh.
And therefore, he won 3 Academy Awards, the latest being for My Left Foot. Later years, always lived in the Village, so we had a lovely townhouse in the Village and entertained people from show business. And I was absolutely shocked when suddenly I heard we were moving to Los Angeles. I mean, for someone who lives and breathes New York, the worst thing that I could have ever heard was you're moving to Los Angeles.
And did you bring New York to Los Angeles?
There's no such thing. They live their own life there of getting up and jogging at 5 in the morning, being asleep by 10 at night, and it's never been my lifestyle. But I had a little bit of New York because I helped to start a university called Cal Arts. And Cal Arts was for all creative people. So therefore, there were people from the music, photography, and dance and theater. So while I was there, and we were creating this new university at the time, it's now become a big, big university.
I'm again, astonished and in shock that you're behind Cal Arts.
Yes, I am. Cal Arts was formed to have people from theater, not just work in theater, but everyone should work with music and art and integrate all of it. So it felt a little bit New York-y for me. Well, one thing that turned out to be very lucky, I started an organization called Women in Film.
Also famous.
And it's very famous, and it's now all over the world. And I think it's the most fabulous organization for women on any level, be it writing, producing, any creative part, directing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have many more opportunities for women because we've been recognized as being a part of the world that has talent. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that.
So, wow. So I'm hearing that you've been so instrumental in creating structures for creative people.
Thank you.
What about your own creativity?
Well, I'm a collage artist, and I've had quite a few shows.
Right.
And I am an artist, and I'm also a theater producer. So I guess I can funnel my creativity into those two areas.
So you're both creative and you're able to create structures.
Yes.
Are you born into a family that...
No, I definitely was not. However, my father was very, very famous, and he left when I was born, but he's still my father. And he's probably the most important person in the world of art and art collecting. He discovered Robert Indiana. I mean, it goes on. And we have a family museum called the Aldrich Museum of Contemporary Art in Ridgefield, Connecticut. And he is very famous to every artist in the world. He created a gallery in Soho where an artist could charge no more than $1,000 for his paintings, and he'd get it all. My father would take none of it, but it was a price he felt in those days that people would go in and invest in unknown artists. A lot of artists became very, very famous from this early beginning because they had no place to show things.
So you really were born into a really art
Yes.
kind of world.
Yes and no, because as I said, I was separated from my father when I was a month old, so I didn't grow up with him, but of course in later years I had contact with him and was surely influenced by some of what he did.
Clearly, and probably take after him.
And he started something you may know of called the Aspen Institute.
So it's like father, like daughter.
Well, perhaps.
Also, you said to me that you get on very well with creative people.
They're only people I like to be with.
And it must have been the same with him.
I guess. But he was a famous dress designer, like Dior would be to the public. Everyone knew Aldrich that was in the fashion business, and his money came from the money he made as a great clothes designer.
So he was an artist.
Yeah, clothing. Yes.
Well, fashion is art.
Yes.
The best of fashion is art.
I never went to college. I went to Finch Junior College.
Right.
Which is in New York, and had a lot of interesting and famous women. It was a women's school.
So you were always really interested in women's issues and women's challenges.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you always thought differently.
Well, not really, because I married 6 times. I like getting married. As a matter of fact, last night I had dinner with Gloria Steinem because I went to the Women's Media Awards. Which was Jane Fonda and Gloria Steinem. My first job was selling wallets in Bloomingdale's. Right now, I can't cope at all with technology. And in those days, I couldn't even cope well with the cash register. I went to progressive schools where they never taught you to spell or add. They just gave you concepts,
Really?
Yeah.
That was what the model school was about. It was just for conceptual learning.
Right, conceptual.
So
I can't spell and I can't add, but I can create amazing situations.
Everything.
Yes. I worked as the head of cultural affairs for the city of New York. It entailed mainly having people who are in the arts come to you and talk to you about what finance they needed or what real estate they needed or what kind of backing they would hope that the city might have even been just publicity, but what did they want the city to do to make their life easier or to make things happen? Like with Manhattan Theater Club, they were on a big downfall at the time, and we looked over their portfolio. They were very good people, and they had produced a lot of good things. We wanted them to stay afloat, they would get the right piece of real estate and be able to put up their own facility, which they did at the time. But it was keeping La Mama afloat. It was keeping different theaters, the backing of the city in order to keep going when they didn't have a lot of funds.
Who was absolutely selling New York to it.
I was that person. My interest was in the smaller theaters and the people that are just getting opportunity, and I think it's hard to explain why you love New York so much. The people, it's the people too. It's just New Yorkers are like no one else.
I think it's the sort of city you know after 5 minutes if you're meant to be here forever or you can't stand it.
Right. Wonderful doing this. I mean, so much has come out of hello.